Coming up today on Issues in Education, professional performers and creative artists take on the role of educators and mentors. We talk about the annual FSU Arts Festival's 7 days of opening nights and its return to Ruby Diamond Concert Hall. Welcome to Issues in Education. I'm Suzanne Smith, alongside my co-host, the Florida State University President, Dr. Eric Barron. This year's 7 days of opening nights begins February 3rd and runs until February 21st, with some additional days in March and April. Joining us to talk about it is Steve MacQueen, Festival Director for 7 days of opening nights. With him is Marcus Roberts, award-winning jazz pianist and Assistant Professor of Jazz Studies at FSU. Thank you both for joining us.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Let's jump right in. Marcus, you are an alumnus of Florida State University, a member of our faculty, and you're a performer during this year's 7 days of opening nights festival. Tell us about your performance this year.
Well, this year we're doing a performance that celebrates the collaboration between classical music and jazz, and so we have a program planned where people will get to see American jazz put in a European context. And we'll be doing some Gershwin. I'll be playing sort of a jazzed up version of Rhapsody in Blue with my trio and the orchestra. And they'll be doing some Bernstein and some other works that will feature that collaboration, so we're very excited about it.
And you'll be working with students also. The orchestra is one of the student orchestras.
It is, yes. It's they're conducted by Alex Jimenez, and he does a great job with the kids, so they'll get a chance to step a little bit outside of what they're probably used to doing. So it won't be a night of Beethoven or Brahms, but they will be still reading the music and adhering to the score, I'm sure. And then we'll have the delightful, magical improvisation element there as well. So it should be a fun night.
It sounds absolutely wonderful. So Steve, what are the other highlights of the year?
Oh, it's hard to pick among your children. There's so many highlights. I'm really excited about the some of the commissions that we've done this year. For the first time, 7 days is commissioning some works, and we have the Kronos Quartet and Wu Man, an extraordinarily prominent group for the last 30 years, and we commissioned a work called Chinese Home with Carnegie Hall and Stanford and University of Illinois. A full multimedia piece with a film backdrop and sets and music about the 20th century in China. I'm very excited about that one. Also commissioned some arrangements for Simona Dinnerstein, who was here 2 years ago, who enjoyed being here so much she wanted to include us in this project. It's only playing 3 places, Duke, somewhere in California, and here. A collaboration between her and Tift Merritt. And we're also commissioning 3 FSU composition students to come up with new scores for 3 silent films from the 20s, and we'll play those movies, and then the new scores will be performed live as well. So I'm excited about that process, creating something new.
Yeah, wonderful.
as well as everybody else.
Yeah.
I also got to say I'm a huge Randy Newman fan, and it's going to be a treat to finally see Randy Newman in concert.
There are a lot of big names coming this year. I mean, Bill Cosby is also coming.
Absolutely.
Why is, or actually, Marcus, you've been part of the 7 days of opening nights festival before. Is this your 3rd year doing it, or?
Yeah,
I believe so, yeah.
3rd year? And why did you want to be in part of 7 days?
Well, my goal is to do what I can to advance any cultural enlightenment that I can. I think it's very important, especially for our young people. I would love to see more and more young people come out to support these events, because at the end of the day, you know, you have to be connected with your cultural legacy and have some understanding of how all these different art forms help to describe your experience in this country, so that later on, as you advance and develop, the problems that you have, you find that they're not necessarily unique. The solutions might be, but the problems in every generation are typically the same things. And so having an understanding of your personal relationship to your community, with your city, your state, the whole cultural perspective of painting and music and dance and literature is a very important part of just making you holistic. And if you look at art and science, you know, all the things that help describe who we are, it's very important that we start that process, especially with the young people, as early as possible.
So in a lot of ways, this is just kind of like this extraordinary gift for Tallahassee and the community. Are they responding by buying up every ticket in sight?
Oh, absolutely. I would say community support has rarely been an issue for 7 days. I think since its inception, before I came here, there's always been a real response. It's answered a real need the community might not have even known it had, and everybody's responded all the time. We have great response from audiences, from businesses, from everywhere.
Now, we're taping this on January 28th, and it'll air at the beginning of February. But as of now, what performances are sold out already?
Let's see. Anthony Bourdain sold out
Darn it.
first. If you're on TV, you're at a different level, apparently. David Sedaris sold out, and then the film with Jeffrey Gilmore is also sold out. And when I checked yesterday, there were 6 seats left for Randy Newman.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
That's great.
That is great. So where does the money go from ticket sales?
Goes back into the program. The arts at a university setting is not a money minting factory. We put it back into the program and put it towards next year, cover our expenses, hopefully come out a little bit in the black and put that towards the next season and move forward.
So does that mean you're self-sufficient on ticket sales?
Ticket sales, sponsorships, memberships. At this point, we are self-sufficient with those things, yes.
That's wonderful.
Yes, it is.
Can we run the rest of the university that way?
I was kind of hoping to go the other way.
What has been your biggest challenge this year in the planning and the preparation?
The biggest challenge this year? Well, this year almost felt like a relief of challenges because the last 2 years where we didn't have Ruby Diamond, we didn't really have a home, a large room that could actually sell enough tickets to make some money to pay the people. Those were challenging, changing venues every night, different sound, different tech, creating performance spaces out of rooms that might not even necessarily be performance spaces in some cases. That was challenging. This just seems like dessert. This seems like a treat. I mean, the challenge, of course, is mostly financial, I guess. Last year was, was not the best year because of the economy, because of the smaller rooms. We didn't do as well. This year, we've already broken even. We're beyond breaking even, so that's great. And I would say the challenge is mostly just answering the possibilities of having the new Ruby Diamond here and bringing a festival that was worthy of that space and that's worthy of this big comeback after 2 years out in the wilderness.
And it sounds like there's something for everyone. Performers come back for more. Our students are greatly advantaged by the interaction. The community loves it. I didn't hear you mention anything about children.
Oh, we have programs for children. We have the Saturday Matinee of the Arts is our collaboration with the Tallahassee Museum, and that's free admission and various arts performances and crafts and everything's free all day at the Junior Museum, and that generally gets thousands of people. We also have an early Bill Cosby show, which is totally family friendly. And
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
You talked about Ruby Diamond. You had the first event with B.B. King back in October in Ruby Diamond. It's the first event in Ruby Diamond. I want to know what you both think of the new concert hall renovations and how that has improved the music. Especially you, Marcus. You know what sounds right when it comes to music. So I want to know what you think about it.
Right. Well, honestly, I have not been in the hall.
No.
I haven't played in that hall yet. I'll know. I guess. On the 20th when but I know that the piano is going to be in good shape because the technician, I've known her for years, so she'll have it prepped properly. If we have the kids rehearsed well, then that's 80% of it. So hopefully, you know what I mean. If the sound is good, which I've heard good reports so far, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, at least we have like a real concert hall now that we can. I don't have to be bashful about saying that Tallahassee actually has a real concert hall when I go to New York or Chicago or wherever else. So I'm excited about it. But I cannot personally say yet, but I'm optimistic that it should be just fine.
I think it's a vast improvement. It's glorious. I was a little embittered by 2 years of working in a construction zone, but once I walked into the Ruby Diamond, all that just faded away. It was beautiful. And I would have just been grateful for just the lobby and the backstage space, which I thought were the most disastrous things there. The lobby was built to fail, and the backstage was embarrassing. And those are now fabulous, almost state-of-the-art things. And then to have that beautiful auditorium, it's aesthetically so gorgeous, and the acoustics are just miles ahead of where they were. I saw the first performance by the symphony when the College of Music did their opening, and you could pick out the different lines, the different instruments were trading within the bigger symphonic context. It was
wonderful.
Beautiful thing to hear.
I'm completely agree. I walked in as president, and all I hear is drills and hammers and everything else, and I thought, this is an interesting environment to do my job. And then I walked into Ruby Diamond when it was done, and I listened to B.B. King and the lead out by the College of Music, and it was just wonderful. Worth every single hammer hit.
Agreed.
Now, are you using any other venues this year at all?
Oh yeah, I am. I really value the relationships that we have with Tallahassee Community College and Florida A&M. So we're doing a few things at TCC. I think we have 3 on the docket for the smaller room. It's got a very nice smaller room, smaller than Ruby Diamond. And I really like working with FAMU. I've had a great time. We did Diane Reeves with Marcus Roberts, and that was, I got to say, one of the 3 or 4 best jazz shows I've ever seen in my entire life. And so FAMU's glad to have us, and we're glad to go over there and share this festival with them. We're doing Savion Glover there. That's going to be a fantastic show.
Those all should be interesting. Marcus, let's go back a little bit about your background. You're known as one of the preeminent jazz pianists of your generation. How'd you get to that place?
Well, I was just fortunate to run into very talented musicians, when I was young, and I went out with Wynton Marsalis in the 80s, kind of at the point where he kind of started the movement that we've been pushing these past 25 years or so. And the one thing that we always talked about and still talk about, even within the last week, is just how to keep the level of achievement high enough so that people don't have to pull out an encyclopedia to know whether they just heard good music. So the biggest issue that we face in terms of building audiences for jazz and classical music is to make sure that the level of the music is consistently high, and that we train people so that they do know from a young age how to listen to it, to understand what they're listening to, in the same way that we approach other academics, so that the exposure to intellectual pursuits and things that are spiritual or creative, there really shouldn't be such a big difference between how we view it. It's all about development and giving you tools that help you describe what you're dealing with, and help you also, to grow and appreciate real achievement. And I've just been fortunate throughout my life as a musician to be around people who were very serious about that.
And practice, right?
Well, yeah, if you don't practice, the one thing, it's like, my teacher used to always tell me, he said, well, nothing is played well by accident, okay? You could only play poorly by accident. So if you had a good performance, that was pretty much a predictable, something that you should be able to predict that should happen. And of course, you never know. I guess that's the beauty of sports and music and everything. When you go to a show or something, you never know. There are those rare moments where everything does fall apart, and we expose the fact that we're all too human. But we practice and hope that when we walk out there, we hit the home run or the last second shot. That's.
I've been watching Marcus play for 20 years. I covered him with the Dallas Democrat back in about 1990, and it's been amazing to watch. He was so great then. It was just really just mind-blowing to see. At the time, we were young men. And
yeah, check that out.
And he was just so amazing. And over the years, his playing, he's always had the technique and the speed and the power, and the emotional depth has really become amazing. I was at a smaller event over the summer where Marcus played a few songs, and he played Just a Closer Walk with Thee at the end. And it was basically a guided tour through the 20th century through piano techniques. And it ended up, the 3 women around me were crying. They were in tears.
Oh, wow.
He's playing these 2-fisted chords,
right.
This 9-foot Steinway on wheels trying to run away from him because he's beating it so hard, and just the depth and beauty of that music was unbelievable. And so he's really grown as a player.
So you could be a performer out there full-time all the time, but yet you seem extraordinarily dedicated to students, and a part of this whole process is a master class with the students. Tell us about that.
Well, we always are committed, as I say, to the young students, because that group of people represents the future, both for our audience and for the music. And even though I do maintain an active tour schedule, I was just in New York for a week up there doing shows last week, but what I try to do with the young students is to give them a glimpse and an understanding of what the big stage is about. And if they're interested in that, here's what you got to do. These are the steps. We have to encourage them. We have to support them. We have to mentor them. We have to discipline them. And we have to make sure, I get on their case, make sure that you're not just music, take care of your other academic subjects, because you want to be a well-rounded intellectual individual. You don't want to be looking like an artist with no other credentials. So in the 21st century, I think the most important thing to being a progressive student is to have an overall tenacity that's being backed up by a general education, maybe more of a way that things used to be, instead of it simply being based on what you're interested in. So I enjoy it. Working with young people is definitely one of the things that I feel very strongly about doing.
And you can imagine a young jazz student having the opportunity to learn from somebody like Marcus is an incredible opportunity at FSU. Yeah. And other faculty as well, like people like Scotty Barnhart and Rodney. And
we
Leon,
have a great
incredible players,
we have a great
all of them.
Jazz faculty, and of course, these young people. The one thing I will say about them is, when you tell them something, you do need to back it up. That's what makes them listen. If you can demonstrate it, show them that it can be done, and then help them learn how to do it. That's really that's the most effective teaching strategy I know of.
Now, are all the other performers for 7 days working with the students in some way?
Not all, but more than half. The Mark Morris Dance Group, probably the best dance company in America, is doing a master class with our dance students. And then we have Anthony Bourdain is going to meet with the School of Hospitality, as well as the Creative Writing Program. Kronos Quartet and Wu Man have 6 different things they're doing, a wide range of activities, ranging from high school to a public sort of DJ set from the lead guy in the Kronos Quartet. And it's a wide range. The acting company is going to spend a whole day with the actors. So.
And do you have a sense of how students are reacting?
Students love it.
They're clamoring to participate.
Oh, absolutely. I think these are amazing things. I think any field you're in, when somebody totally established and a star in that field comes and wants to talk to you, and just in an intimate setting where you actually get FaceTime, and it's not a huge mass of people, and you get to hear what they have to say, you get to ask them questions, you get to learn from them. That's just a gift to you.
And is this just for music students?
Oh, no. We have the theater, acting company is going to do it for theater. We have, like I said, Anthony Bourdain talking to hospitality and creative writing. Mm-hmm. We do it all across the board. We cover visual arts, theater, dance, music, film, and creative writing, and every one of those is covered by some type of
a major and group of students.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
For people in the community who want to attend, the community can't do the master class things with the students, but if they're interested in going to any of these performances, how do they learn more about 7 days? Where can they go to find it? Or information about tickets?
They can certainly go to our website, which is 7daysfestival.org. For tickets, it's just tickets.fsu.edu. That's got all the information you need.
Okay, wonderful. There also are memberships still available as well, or
memberships are still available. They're always available. We always want more.
What do you get with a membership?
What you get with a membership is access to tickets a little earlier. Membership is a way to invest in 7 days and get better tickets. This year we set records for number of members and the amount of money raised by memberships, and that was really heartening to see the community support for that. So that's extremely helpful.
So at this point, maybe start planning to be a member for next year.
Oh, absolutely. We will be offering that opportunity at every one of our performances coming up. And I also got to say, in addition to the memberships, our sponsors are the other way that we actually, I can't not mention the local businesses that throw in so much money to be able to help us do this, and the enthusiasm with which they do it is a beautiful thing. We could not do this festival without them.
Thank you both for being here today. We've been talking with Festival Director Steve MacQueen and award-winning jazz pianist Marcus Roberts about this year's 7 days of opening nights. When we come back, Dr. Barron and I will talk one-on-one about more issues in education. Welcome back to Issues in Education. I'm Suzanne Smith, sitting with Dr. Eric Barron, the president of the Florida State University. President Barron, we've been talking about 7 days of opening nights. This is your second season to see it. What are you looking forward to most this year?
You know, I think after that conversation with Marcus, that's got to be what I'm looking forward to most, because it just, you know, anytime you hear someone say the tears come to their eyes in a performance, I want to hear it.
Yeah. Why is 7 days so important to the university and the students?
You know, it's kind of interesting. If you think about what makes an experience great, part of that's quality of life. Another part of it is getting a good education. FSU delivers both, and that's wonderful. And I just can't imagine what it would be like on this campus without all of these wonderful performances.
The economy's been the main concern of everybody right now, and more cuts are probably going to come from the legislature. Are you concerned that FSU's dedication to the arts and arts education could be compromised if there are more cuts?
You know, I think first of all, we don't know what to expect, and we don't know at what depth. There was an article today that to promote, I think it was a bond rating for the state should sock away $2 billion into rainy day funds. That would bring their deficit up to $5 billion. You just don't know what is going to happen. This is part of the tough part. But if a university can't protect those areas of true excellence, then you really do have a bigger problem than just an individual program.
Where do you see any cuts coming or areas like that, or is it just
okay,
your guess as good as anybody else's?
You know, it's very hard to tell. We know that this legislature and this governor are very serious about taking care of the budget. There's no doubt after many bad years they're running out of places to find the money. They're also equally serious about job creation. So higher education is in this interesting place in that we are one of the engines for job growth and for creativity and innovation. And you really want that educated population not just to create jobs, but to create really good jobs in the state. So on the one hand, there you are as one of the drivers, and on the other hand, you're one of the areas for which there's dollars that can be taken. And so how will they balance that? I don't know the answer. I certainly hear a lot of discussion about how important higher education is to the state.
Well, what do you want the state legislature to do for FSU and for the other universities in the state?
Okay, well, so really the bottom line here is that we're in a state that is focused on accessibility for students and providing that education at a very low cost. What that means is that when we're in a tight budget and we don't have much resources to go, we end up cutting. If you look at other states, what they've done is they've changed what the cost of higher education is as to a mechanism to partially balance the fact that state budgets are weaker. So where do we sit? Well, our tuition is 48 out of 50 states. If you look at all of our in-state students, all 27,000 of them, to see what they actually pay. Not the sticker price of $5,000 for tuition and fees, exactly what they pay. We have 40% of our students that pay nothing. Their tuition and fees are covered by scholarships, and they actually get money back for food and housing and books. 71% of our students pay less than $750 a year in tuition and fees. And last year we only had 19 in-state students that paid more than $3,000 for their education. We are a bargain, and we have basically, because of the generosity of the legislature in doing things like Bright Futures, we're keeping the best and brightest in Florida. But now that we have budget cuts, we're going to lose faculty. We have lost faculty. We have fewer assistant professors. We've cut a lot of staff operations. And so we don't want to get to that edge where we're no longer offering a quality education. Because if we're not at the top of the quality heap, bright students will leapfrog the state and pay the higher tuition because they want the product. So just as one other example, because of the amount of scholarships we have, we're within $30 a month of being the lowest out-of-pocket cost compared to any other state in the nation for public education, if you put FSU up against those states. So my view is it's okay to pay a little bit for your education, and paying a little bit for our education allows us to make sure that we keep our faculty and we can teach the classes students need, and we can put them in innovative areas that they want to be in.
Now, I think if the tuition goes up 15%, when it comes down to how much those 71% students are paying out of pocket, it's like an additional $50.
$50 a month?
So a total of $800 for a whole year of education.
Yeah, it's actually, if you did 15% of tuition and fees, that's what it would be. It's less if you just do 15% of tuition.
There's also talk of allowing the university some flexibility in tuition rates for selected courses. The Board of Governors invited all 11 schools in the state to propose 5 professional courses. Explain how that's working. Is it online or in class, or how is that working?
These are online classes. One of the interesting things is we have only so many sources of revenue. More out-of-state students, more students, online education, tuition, a state budget. Each one of those has rules associated with them. Online education, we've only been able to deliver at the cost of delivery. So there's no reason to innovate if the only income you're going to get is what it costs you to deliver it. Where's the innovation dollar that occurs there? So Florida doesn't play in the online game. So these market rate proposals would allow us to charge a rate for tuition for people out of the state, out of the country, or people who can't go to class, that's competitive with the marketplace and allows us to innovate.
Now, is it FSU that's just focusing on online courses, or other schools doing
Now,
that as well?
all state universities have been given the option to propose 5 courses initially as a test. A total of 18 have been proposed by the 11 institutions. FSU has 5 on the table.
When will you know the results of that?
So the next board meeting that comes up, there's a meeting of the subcommittee that'll look at the proposals, and then I believe the next board meeting in the spring should grant permission, hopefully, for these market rate classes.
Thank you very much. That's our time for now. Please join us again next month for more Issues in Education. You can watch the premiere episode of Issues in Education the first Wednesday of every month at 7:30 p.m. That means you can see the next new episode on Wednesday, March 2nd on WFSU-TV. Join us as we discuss the latest developments in higher education happening around the state and across the country. If you have questions that you would like us to address on this program, you can email us at issues@wfsu.org. Again, that's issues@wfsu.org. If you would like to see past episodes of Issues in Education, head to the President's website at president.fsu.edu. I'm Suzanne Smith with the Florida State University President, Dr. Eric Barron, for Issues in Education. We'll see you next time.